In the past, the U.S. government has been concerned about the amount of control that the conventional broadcast networks have had over television programming nationally. And as a result of that concern, the government had adopted certain policies or rules to try and limit the amount of control that the networks have over programming. And so, for those reasons, the government adopted certain policies like the primetime access rule and the financial syndication rule that both in different ways tried to limit the power and influence of traditional broadcast networks over programming. The primetime access rule reduced network control of primetime programming to encourage more local programming. So, for instance, the primetime access rule set aside a period of time in the early evening, like 7 to 8 p.m., and said that local broadcast stations would have control over that time, and it prevented the broadcast networks from programming during that time. The financial syndication rules limited the network's involvement in syndicating programs. Now, I guess one could say that even with these rules, the television networks still had a great deal of control over programming because they still largely influenced what kinds of shows that major independent production companies produced, because the networks still had the final say over what shows they would decide would be included on their schedules. As cable television experienced growth and became more successful, the U.S. government adopted certain policies to make certain that cable operators served the public interest in the local communities where they operated, but also they wanted to make certain that cable operators didn't threaten traditional TV broadcasters. So the U.S. government required cable operators to obey what were referred to as must-carry rules. These rules required cable operators and companies to carry signals for local TV broadcast stations. The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, also required cable operators to provide what were called access channels. These were channels like public access channels or educational channels that the FCC required the cable operators to offer in the local communities where they operated. These cable operators were also required to provide leased channels. These were channels on the cable systems where cable operators had to offer these leased channels to anybody who wanted to pay for the right to present certain programming on these channels. Now, these cable operators really did not like being required to provide these channels, and they didn't like being told that they had to do certain things by the Federal Communications Commission or the U.S. government. Instead, cable companies, cable operators wanted to have the same rights as publishers. They wanted to be referred to or considered to be electronic publishers that were providing content much as a newspaper or magazine publisher might. And in a court case in Midwest Video, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed that cable companies could be best conceived of as electronic publishers that were, essentially providing certain programming to the public. Now, that said, even though cable companies came to be seen as electronic publishers, these cable operators still informally agreed to provide public access channels as a service to the local community that they operated in. In order for a company like Comcast to provide cable TV service for a particular community, that company like Comcast has to be awarded a cable franchise. A franchise is when a city or a town agrees to let a company like Comcast provide this cable TV service. The way it works is a local town or city government will solicit bids from a number of companies like Comcast for the terms for offering cable TV service. And then the local government will award a cable franchise to the company that provides the most attractive bid. And then that company like Comcast that wins that franchise then has the right to provide cable TV service for that local area, usually for a period of 15 years. Now, the cable company like Comcast has to pay a certain amount of money that's referred to as the franchise fee to the local city or town for that right to provide TV service to people in that local area. And there's usually a lot of haggling between the local town or city government and the cable company over how much that franchise fee is going to be. Now, the 1984 Federal Cable Policy Act set out certain terms for how that franchise awarding process is supposed to be conducted, and this 1984 Act also laid out terms and guidelines for how much this franchise fee is supposed to be. The Act also lays out certain terms and guidelines for what kind of access channels the cable company will provide in these franchise agreements. We've talked about the 1996 Telecommunication Act in some previous chapters. Remember that this 96 Act relaxed a number of ownership limits and allowed companies and parties to buy up and acquire more media outlets in certain media sectors, notably radio and television. in radio, it pretty much did away with ownership limits altogether. This 96 Telecommunication Act also strongly affected the cable business, the cable industry, and provided justification for federal regulation and oversight of the cable business. Previous federal laws and acts provided justification for U.S. government regulation of television and radio broadcasting and the telephone business. This 96 Act provided comparable justification for regulation of the cable business. One big aspect of this 96 Act is that it did away with previous boundaries and market barriers between the telephone business and the cable business. Previously, prior to this 96 Act, the cable business and the telephone industry were very separate and distinct. This 96 Act did away with distinctions between these two media sectors, so that after this point, phone companies like AT&T or the Bells were allowed to get involved in the cable business, and conversely, cable operators were now allowed to get involved in the telephone business, so that after this point, for instance, a cable company like Comcast could now offer a telephone service. Now, one of the expected benefits of this change was that it would lead to more competition. So that there would be more competition between telephone companies and cable companies to offer cable service. And advocates of this act argued that this would lead to benefits for consumers, that this competition would lead to lower costs and fees for cable service. I don't know about you, but my Comcast bill has not been going down lately. That some critics of this act argued that that this competition did not lead to benefits and lower prices for consumers. The 96 Act also reaffirmed must-carry rules that required cable companies to still offer the signals of local broadcast stations on their cable systems.